Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a feeling I think everyone knows, that strange state at the end of the day where you're just completely exhausted, mentally fried, but you're also buzzing. You can't switch off. We're going to move beyond just calling it stress and really dig into the neurobiology of what clinicians call functional freeze.
And that term is so important. This isn't just burnout, it's a real physiological deadlock. To get it, you really have to think about the autonomic nervous system using, the car analogy from polyvagal theory. You're essentially driving with the gas pedal floored and the emergency brake pulled at the exact same time.
Okay, so the gas pedal, that's the sympathetic system.
hmm
That would be the racing thoughts, the low-grade anxiety, that
hmm
wired feeling.
That's it, exactly. But while the gas is floored, something else is happening that gives you that incredibly heavy, tired feeling. And that's the emergency brake. It's your dorsal vagal system, a primitive shutdown response trying to conserve energy. When it kicks in, it slows everything down. And for us, that feels like numbness, exhaustion, and that really thick brain fog.
And that friction, that biological fight, it creates some really frustrating symptoms. I know I've felt this kind of paralysis after a huge day. What's the specific term for that?
It's called selective paralysis. It's really the signature of this high-functioning shutdown state. You can manage a multi-million-dollar budget, you can navigate these incredibly complex negotiations all day,
Right.
but then you get home, you stand in your kitchen, and you are just completely frozen, totally unable to decide what to cook. The simple tasks overload you.
So let's pivot a little to the behavioral side. What's the chemistry that actually makes us feel compelled to check our phones, even when we know we need to rest? We always hear it's about dopamine and pleasure, but I think that's not quite the full story, is it?
Not at all. Dopamine is really about anticipation, the wanting, not the having. It spikes hardest when the reward is uncertain. Scientists call this reward prediction error.
Reward prediction error. Okay, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, it's basically the slot machine effect. Your phone, your email, Slack, they all run on what we call variable reward schedules. You get a notification and you check it because you don't know if it's going to be, mundane or something massive.
Oh.
And that uncertainty is what keeps your brain in a state of hyperarousal. It drives you to seek out these little hits of cheap dopamine from scrolling instead of the real satisfaction that comes from true rest.
And it's not just our own brain chemistry working against us, right?
Mhm.
The whole system is set up to reinforce this. I'm thinking of this concept of telepressure, that constant nagging urge to respond to every message immediately. It prevents what experts call psychological detachment.
It does. And if you dig even deeper, underneath that, you find this pervasive idea of internalized capitalism. That's the psychological framework that,
Mhm.
well, it basically equates your self-worth directly with how productive you are. So if you believe that, then stopping, then resting, it doesn't just feel inefficient. It feels like a moral failure.
Yeah, like you're committing some kind of sin by taking a break.
Yeah.
So if the problem is this deep biological and systemic, then, typical advice like better time management isn't going to cut it. Where do we even start to regulate a state that's coming from the bottom up?
You have to start by signaling safety directly to your brainstem. So the first, most immediate thing you can do is a technique called orienting. When you feel that foggy, anxious, frozen feeling, just stop. Force your eyes to slowly scan the room you're in. And internally, just name 3 physical objects you see. A wooden picture frame, the sharp corner of a desk, a red book. This simple act engages the part of your nervous system that feels regulated, and it tells your body on a very basic level, I am safe right now.
That sounds so much more manageable than, say, trying to force myself to meditate when I'm already overwhelmed. And what about breaking that addiction to the achievement dopamine you mentioned?
For that, you can turn to Nixon. It's a wonderful Dutch concept that basically means purposeless idleness. You intentionally do nothing. You just sit and stare out a window. You watch your coffee brew without looking at your phone. You have to sort of teach your brain to tolerate the quiet, to be okay without constant validation.
That idea of a purposeful pause leads us to our final thought for today. If the system turns productivity into a way to commodify all of your time, then maybe we need to reframe rest entirely. Think about this. Rest as resistance. Taking a pause isn't just some wellness hack to make you more efficient later on. It's an act of refusal. It's a refusal against the systems that want to monetize every single moment of your life. So the thought we'll leave you with is this. What would it actually mean for you to decouple your sense of self-worth from your economic output completely?